I'm going to move on to the product demonstration now, starting with the web portal. ClickBase has a standard portal, but like everything else in ClickBase, it's customizable. Our sample portal here takes graphics and information and links from the AccountMate website. I'm going to log into the portal now. You can see we've chosen a familiar style that users will identify with quickly, and that is the Outlook navigation bar. Over on the left side, we can see that we've got, for example, groups here: customer analysis, sales analysis, product analysis, company analysis. Running across the top, we've got enterprise, individual, and management. Now these three options up here are actually user groups, and these control what we see over on the left side. So for example, if I click on individual, you can notice that the information has changed over here and the available shortcuts has changed. Management likewise, and back to enterprise. The different views that we have in ClickBase are a list, a graph, or the Olap Q. When I click on this button here, we can give an example of all three, or excuse me, of the two. We've got top 5 customers. We've got a graph here showing active customers by week, and then another graph down here, a pie chart showing customer count by salesperson. This is a static shortcut that's showing this information. And what I mean by that is the administrator has created this shortcut and assigned security to it to allow specific people to see it. When I log in, if I have access to the shortcut, this will always appear on my shortcut bar. You may also want to make a note that the graphs that you're looking at here are completely dynamic. So every time we click on this button here, the graphs will show up with the latest information. This is not a static image. Now the other style of the presentation that we saw is what we call the Olap Q. I've got this under our Sales Analyzer. Across the top here where we see company, class, industry, these are inactive dimensions of the cube. Active on the horizontal axis, we've got year and month, and active on the vertical axis, I've got item class. I can filter these individually by clicking on the drop-down box, selecting which ones I want to view or not view, and applying that information to the list. We can do this with the active dimensions or the inactive dimensions. Switching from an active to an inactive dimension is as simple as a drag and drop. I can pull off item class, move that up here to the top, and we'll grab industry, slide that over in place, and now I can see sales by year and month for each industry. As it is evident with the year and month, we can see that this is actually a multi-dimensional cube as well. So I can have industry, and maybe we'll go ahead and we'll take territory, slide that in place. So now within each industry, I can see the east and west sales for January, February, March, April of 2003. And we can hide, explode, or hide the dimensions. This actually becomes a little report writer. You can also have multiple measures available. Right now we're looking at sales. If I click down here where it says facts, I've also got defined units, cost, and margin. And I can turn these on as needed, and then we can see all this information all at once. Opening up the other dimensions, expanding everything, we can really see that we can drill down to quite some detail with these numbers. I want to show you the value when we talked about items and some of the things that we can do with items. I want to switch over to the individual view here, click on My Contacts, and we'll see two presentations. One list with my customers, one with my contacts. And what's unique about this is we have one underlying SQL statement, but because we have items, I'm only going to see the customers or the contacts that I'm allowed to see as I log in. So we don't have to create a separate SQL statement to determine this person is here and then modify the statement because this user is logged in. The lists that you see are searchable with the columns that you see on the screen. So I click on the little icon up here. I can specify, let's say, item name begins with ACCSESS. Do a search, We can see we come up with our information for access communications. And because we have items, I can drill down on this information and take a look at information that resides in the enterprise about this. So we can see basic information such as address, phone number. Notice I also have down here in the bottom related items. The related items we talked about, and that's establishing the relationship between 22 pieces of information within your enterprise. So as we said before, in a basic relationship where we've got a customer on top, and I can drill down and take a look at the invoices for that customer. May also want to see what products this customer has purchased. And then I can drill down on each one of these and take a look at the information for that. And I can continue to drill down as long as I have relationships. Not only can I search the individual lists, but I can actually search across the enterprise. Up here in the upper right corner, I've got a search box. I'm going to go ahead and type in access there, so that's our familiar customer. And we can see we show up with access communications, but also notice that I'm showing up an item here. It says Mona Rice, invoice 10009, 10, 11, and 12. And the reason these show up is because not only does it find access communications, but it actually finds all of the items related to access communications. Very, very powerful search tool for across your enterprise information. The portal is also configurable for each individual user. Down here I've got an option to create a shortcut. Now I already have a shortcut called My Favorites. We'll go ahead and put another one on there. We can specify which shortcut bar we want to put this under. So I'll put it under Contacts, so we'll see that. Shortcut name, type in a name. And we'll create that shortcut. Now when that pops up, and I click on this shortcut, you'll see that there's nothing in there at all. So what I do is I select the configure option up here, and I'm going to see a list of all presentations that I have within ClickBase. Now a presentation can be a list, can be a cube, can be a graph. So I can go through and select these and assign them to this shortcut. So I'm going to go ahead and put all companies on here. And let's put all contacts on there as well. Now when I click on the button, I have two lists that I can move around and position wherever I want. So we'll go ahead and we'll slide up the contacts here up on top and resize this. And we'll move the companies down here, and we'll resize this as well. Save the layout. And now when I click my button, I will get my lists in the exact places that I put them. Now this allows us to build the concept that we have, the digital dashboard, where you can put the metrics or the key indexes that are important to you on your shortcut, and as you click that, it's going to give you the latest information. The Windows client, or item manager as we'd like to call it, is completely configurable. All the groups in the navigation bar, the associated shortcuts, and the contents of the presentation area are built using the ClickBase item manager. There are 3 levels of visual and integration configuration. The first level, supplied by ClickBase, is the basis for accessing information within ClickBase. In application solution kits, we provide the items necessary to access information for a specific application and a base set of items to view and manipulate the data. Business partners can build upon the solution using the development kits, and end users can further customize the layout for their own needs. There are 3 primary presentation styles: the grid, as shown here, the Olap Q, and graphs. The grid presentation is a very simple to use report writer. The contents of the grid can be changed by dragging and dropping columns from and to the grid. Information can be sorted by clicking on the column headers Columns can be sorted by a single column or by multiple columns in descending or ascending order. Data can be grouped and subgrouped to an infinite number of levels. By activating the grouped footer, we can subtotal columns by right-clicking on the grouped footer and selecting a function. Each grouped column will show a total. Likewise, the entire grid can also be totaled. Pre-configured print styles supply many options to finalize the presentation. However, the properties of the print layout can be changed prior to printing. The user can turn grid on and off, add a report title, change colors or fonts. The graph object used in ClickBase provides a dynamic visual representation of data. By double-clicking on the image, the user can change the property of the graph and save the layout. Graphs can be built directly using the shortcut module, or they can be built using the grid and chart wizard. Start by selecting whether you want to see the information in summary or plotted in detail. Select the values that you want to see. Select the presentation style and view the results. You can manipulate the properties just like you can with the graphs on the shortcut. And then you can save the results as a shortcut for future reference. Remember that the graph is a dynamic image, so every time you click on the graph, it's going to be updated with the latest information. The Olap Q provides the multi-dimensional view you need to see your information. In the example here, we're showing sales by item class for the year 2003 and broken down by each month. We can limit the selection that we see using any of the dimensions, whether they're active, as seen here, with the item class, the year and the month, or inactive up on top. This gives us the ability to do things like maybe compare two periods together side by side. Dimensions can be made active just by using a simple drag and drop interface. We'll drag off the month and the year and put the territory across on top, and now we can see, or excuse me, industry, now we can see the item class sales by industry. If multiple measures are defined, they can be turned on and off as needed. The contents of the grid can also be graphed simultaneously. Notice how the graph contents changes with the dimensions. Thank you for your interest in ClickBase. If you would like further information on this exciting technology, please contact our sales office at area code 415-209-0724.